It's not clarified in that though.
You know, I only have
Okay,
it
so
next
we
to
need
it.
to
My
clarify
confusion
that.
on my question. Right.
We need office coverage, and I don't have enough of it now, so, okay. I also would like to see it be a steady job. Right now, it's too flexible. It's 3 hours some day, it's 6 hours other days. It's nice, it'd be nice if we had someone every day, 9 to 4 or whatever, set hours.
All right. So. Put this back to Bob, is that? So unless there's any objection, let's take it back to Bob and we will look at the issues involved and hopefully come to some resolution. Central purchasing.
Oh, that's me. And I didn't have a chance to write anything up, so let me just kind of chat off the top of my head. We've talked about this before. I've discussed this with Holly while I'm in, and so I think that we, as a whole town government, could save money if we really truly centralized most of the supply ordering from staples, printers, toner, copiers that we order. Everything should be done through one place so that you're getting the best service, the best deal on toner, the best. So if one person was really doing a lot of that, I understand it might be hard to order paper, you know, through here, but I don't know, each department seems to have their own budget for supplies, but I don't really know what kind of supplies that means. I've been looking through a lot of the paperwork. And we had talked about this before, there's a closet in the selectmen's office, this is just my thought, please don't hold me to all this. But to really have, okay, so nobody should have 25 cases of binder clips and 10 cases of paper clips. I think that we just kind of have to, you know, one place, one central place to look at it, and one, you know, maybe we don't need $4,000 in this department and $5,000 in that department, and I would like to see more controls on that, and we have a chief procurement officer, and, you know, you can't do it, but the other people in the office can, and to really have, so you just kind of come in, take out what you want. Again, I'm more concerned about paper and that people just be able to do that, but just to really, I think it would be a good cost-effective measure. Period. So that's really what I want to talk about.
I think it's a terrific idea. It makes sense. It will save the town money. It will make some department heads unhappy because if it diminish, it'll certainly diminish their ability to make independent purchases. But before rushing into something like this, I'd like to see us
Are you all grumbling out there?
appoint a committee of some kind to review all the aspects of it before we implement something like that. I mean, obviously, we need a storage area. Obviously, we need controls on certain kinds of purchases. Other kinds of purchases, you can't wait until it's done centrally. And so sorting those out, coming up with a policy is the way we need to do it. And I think I've seen it work elsewhere. Most organizations now do central stores. We don't have a lot of space here, but I have no doubt that we can save money by larger purchases of certain kinds of products that every department uses. No sense in purchasing small lots by department. Doesn't make as much sense as to centralize that purchase and store it in a secure place. But it will take some time to get there, not a lot of time, but I would like to urge that we appoint a subcommittee, maybe of the board. Certainly I would serve on it, and we need to meet with the various departments to take a look at their specific issues with regard to purchasing, as opposed to you know, just saying let's do it. I think there's enough complexity to that, and real issues that we need to, I think, do it that way.
Why don't you get a group together to do it? Because if we appoint a subcommittee, then you have to deal with open meeting.
Okay. All right.
each other.
We'll do it.
Facilitate,
Yeah, we can do it.
yeah.
People are raising their hands. I don't get to.
Diana?
I use 3 cases of paper a month. I am not coming over here to get 3 cases of paper a month. My
I
dad
don't
will
mean
not allow
paper.
that. I am the youngest person in my department.
You are what?
Paper from Staples like I'm supposed to.
That's a lot of paper, lady.
Here's one of the problems we're gonna face.
High school seniors need to do volunteer work. Make them go huff paper or something. I'm just saying.
I'm with you on
We've
that.
got lots of kids that got nothing to do, they got lots of free time on their hands.
Yeah, and they're gonna lift
Julie?
cases of paper, right?
While you're looking at central purchasing, you might also wanna look at lines of credit and how many lines of credit this town has open. It was an issue before, and I'm sure it has not been.
Okay.
One issue we can look at. Mike?
To me, the concept of central purchasing is really nothing more than control. One group has control of all the purchasing. The real cost savings is done, to me, is done on a smaller basis. Go out and buy it on your own, use coupons, whatever, like I do. You can make a huge saving. If you go out and buy paper, which we don't wanna talk about, but you buy it in this huge bulk, and you're not really saving anything because you're going through a big company. You may save a few dollars, but the real savings is in buying small purchases on a monthly basis. I need, somebody said, 3 cases a month.
Central purchasing can do.
You know, Staples has a huge sale, or Walmart has a huge sale. Well, you go down and buy your 3 cases and you just save yourself $20. $20 over every department, hey, you can hire somebody.
To run central
Coupons are great.
So this is gonna be an interesting
So,
discussion.
yeah, I know, it will be, and what I wanna say to the
I'm
board is,
sorry, guys.
what I wanna say to the board is, we could link this with the effort that Kelly and I have talked about several times to move away from paper. Have more document storage electronically, have more processing, central processing that we do here in the finance office electronically. We know that there are steps that we can take that will make it more efficient and maybe less costly.
Yes, ma'am. Who
Can
are
I
you?
just say, that's a wonderful idea, other than the fact that if it all crashes, you have
Yeah, it
nothing.
does, yeah.
Because that's happened to me a few times, yeah, and it sucks.
We have to have redundant storage.
My
Yeah.
3 cases of paper is newsletter.
Oh my gosh, I don't really wanna talk about paper with you. It's not, can I just say that when I was elected, I saw all of you come together and really talk about cost savings measures, and I thought that was incredible. So talk about it at a department head meeting, write some stuff down. Please, can we just send, I wanna save us some money.
I do too.
I'll give you
I
my
love you
Staples
all.
coupons.
All right. John?
I'll send.
Oh, you're talking about cost savings, why don't you go direct, every employee go direct deposit, it'll save the town a lot of money.
On a
Mandate
bi-weekly-
direct deposit.
A bi-weekly payroll would too.
That too.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Came in that way a while
You
ago.
know,
It's tough.
we're almost there, John. There is a state statute that says that we can't force it. And if someone agrees to it and doesn't have a bank account, we must open a bank account for them to do it. I looked at that about a year ago because I think we're at 96 or 97%. And I wanted to basically force it to save money.
Right.
The law says I can't do it. And that's an opinion that I have, can share with anybody from town council about a year ago. So we have to persuade those who are still resisting that it makes good sense to do it that way, and then we can go universal. And then I think there's a significant gain for the town.
I will help them open bank account. You can get free ones at FLC thing.
All right, I think that we pretty much, pretty much run the course. Let's get into the FY17 budget.
Yeah.
I'm gonna recuse myself from the budget discussion.
Just to run through quickly where we are. We don't.
He can't over here.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Today, I got a communication from our health insurer. That's the last big account where we have lacked information.
Where is it?
Sorry?
What?
Our health insurance number came in today.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes. The town has a budget over $1 million for health insurance. So even a small percent increase is very meaningful for our town budget. And so we really can't complete the budget process until we get that number. One of the games that the insurers play is that they delay as long as they can, because as we get down into the spring, we don't have time to go out to bid and go through a long process to maybe affiliate with a different insurance company. So that's a game that and I had Alicia call and twist the arm of Maya to get a number to me today. And so with that number, and with the other information that's come in within the last week and a half, we got our general insurance number. That's our liability and building insurance. We have our Worcester County retirement number. And as you can tell from earlier this evening, the school department is pretty much final. We know where they're going to, what the ballpark is going to be for the budget that they're going to assess the town. I put $225,000 in new money into the school assessment budget. Looking at the patterns in recent years, that's about where we've been. The school department will tell you that the state is forcing the town to come up with more funding for the schools than most, simply because of the so-called target share that the state regulation provides. And so that's a big chunk of the money that we spend. It's over half the money that we spend in the town is for the schools. Not complaining about that, that's just the reality. And now apparently we were told tonight, and I was told earlier, that schools are going to need a little bit more. So one of the considerations tonight is to what extent will the town be able and willing to provide additional funds beyond the $225,000 that I put into this budget for the schools. Just going, so I'll go through these quickly. The moderator, we provide no funds whatsoever for the moderator. So that was an easy budget to do. Selectmen's budget, I want to point out that we have funds here for auditing. From now on, the town will have a professional audit of its books every single year. That Selectmen's budget will have the funds there for that. Advisory board, not much change there. They have $50,000 in the reserve fund. That's for emergencies. It's for unforeseen and unanticipated expenses, not to cover an overrun in a particular department. It's for something that we didn't see in the budget process. Nothing new there. Town accountant, nothing new other than we have certification and training. And so the certification training number for the town accountant is a little higher than some of the other financial officials. We also have our accounting software in the budget here rather than voting that as an article for town meeting. I've tried to take those articles, the financial articles, as many as possible, take them out of the town meeting warrant and put them into the budget. Assessors, nothing new there. Treasurer collector, the town voted to combine the offices of treasurer and collector. We've always had two budgets. I've collapsed them into one budget. We have a treasurer collector, we have an assistant treasurer collector, we have shared office expenses, and we have some of the other expenses here. Also certification. When we tried to reorganize financial operations There were some who said, you know, do we have certified people? And the answer is certified people were not available and none applied. And so the strategy was to find good people and see to it that they got the proper training. And that's what we're doing. And so I would anticipate a year from now that we will have a fully certified staff in the finance office of the town. Town council, that's funded at $50,000. The town has struggled historically to stay within the $50,000 in legal expenses. We're doing okay this year, aren't we? I think we're okay. We'll probably get there this year. But we've had overruns as much as double that in the past. So I'm trying as much as possible not to call town council in Boston and ask for advice. So when John tonight said, would you check with town council? He's volunteered to pay for it, so that's good. That's expensive, and we try to keep those costs down. Technology, telephone, we're making some progress with technology in the town, and clearly that's something we need. Town clerk has been discussing increasing her hours to 40 hours a week rather than 35. And there's financial implications for that the board is familiar with here. Nothing new with the Conservation Commission, Agriculture Commission, Open Space Committee, basically no budgets there, no money. Planning Board, again, nothing new there. Planning Board has been making a request of the Board of Selectmen for the last couple of years for a sizable chunk of money to finish the master plan. The town's master plan dates to 1967, I think. So for all practical purposes, it's worthless. Planning Board has been updating that plan, and they've been at it for 3 or 4 years. They've asked for a big chunk of money, which we didn't have in the last couple of years. We were fortunate to get a grant to support the last piece of the updating of the master plan, so we don't have to spend general fund money for that, and it's going to be completed.
Kept the 27,000 there.
Board of Appeals, the town report, street listing, nothing here. Town buildings, we have taken the money that used to be allocated for rent for the other place on Patriots Road and transferred it over to the town buildings budget. And we're using those funds to gradually, over time, improve this building. This is new carpeting. We have new carpeting in the hallways. We put in new windows in the back. We're going to be doing insulation in the ceiling, and over a period of time, make this building more attractive, but also more efficient for the town.
What's that number?
Pardon me?
What's that number?
60,000.
Mr. Michael?
Yeah.
During that budget that you just mentioned, have you made any arrangements to have the library building taken care of and maintenance?
No.
Can
We do have
excuse me,
requests
Bob,
from-
Can we, let Bob go through
Yeah.
the whole budget, and then we'll give everybody a chance to comment on it.
I do have some requests from the library here, which we'll go through a little later, okay? Town vehicles, cut that back a little bit because fuel is a little less expensive. Travel, we have no funds for travel in the town. Insurance, the town pays $1.3 million for insurance. That's medical insurance, general insurance, Medicare, unemployment comp, and those are the items. So that's a big ticket item. We can't have a budget unless I know those numbers, and I said I've just got those numbers in.
On health insurance, what's the split between employee and?
Pardon?
What's the split?
75-25,
75.
which is sort of standard in the Commonwealth. That's usually the way it's done. Retirement, another big number, it's $630,000 the town has to pay to the Worcester Regional Retirement Board for our employees when they retire. The employees also contribute If you're a new employee, you're at 9% of your check every year, every day. Or if you make higher income, you pay 11% into the retirement board. People sometimes complain that public employees get good retirements. Yeah, they do. But they pay in, and the town pays in. So in the end, they do get fairly generous retirements. PD, we have a contract with the, new contract with the police. What's here is just funding that contract for the police department. Fire department, not much different there. Also, I've taken the building inspector and the Board of Health agent, and I've combined them into inspectional services. So it's one budget, not much different other than that, but we've combined, because they're in the same office, there's one staff person rather than two, and that one staff person serves both the building inspector and the health agent. And it seems to be working well. That was done about a year ago. It seems to be working well. Sealer, animal inspector, animal control we share, and that seems to be working pretty well as well. Emergency management, there's nothing there. Tree warden, we have a request to increase the amount that we allocate to the tree warden. Right now, the budget is $5,000. Half of that is for the salary of the tree warden, $2,500, and $2,500 for the expenses. And I'm given to understand that we have a lot of trees in the town that need attention. And in particular, we have some trees that are fairly tall, too tall for town equipment, and so we need one of these boom lifts, which has to be contracted for. In other words, we have to bring in a company that has one of those boom lifts in order to take down some of the larger, taller trees that our equipment can't handle. But those trees have been neglected for a few years, and they need attention, and so there's pressure to spend more money there. Highway administration, vehicle maintenance, there's some new initiatives over here for that, which we can talk about. We're holding the snow and ice budget at $125,000. It's been that way for a long time. I was of a mind to increase it, but we now have some other pressures for other needs, and so we'll probably just keep it there unless the Board of Selectmen decide to increase it. So far this winter, we're doing okay, as you know. Certainly I hope that we can get through without what happened last year, which was a deficit of over $100,000 for the snow and ice budget. Street lighting expense, as I mentioned to the board, we're not paying for street lights this year. We're not paying for electricity in our buildings. Those were contributed, those expenses were contributed by the light department. John Driscoll and I have met, discussed sort of an ongoing, documented contribution. And I was told that the commissioners of the light department would prefer to fund projects rather than to give funds to the town. And so we're going back and forth talking about projects that they can support, since they are reluctant just to make a financial contribution. Cemetery department, we have a request here on the new initiatives list. Council on the Aging, another request, but nothing new in the budget at this point. Veteran Services, I'm sure it's not surprising that we have veterans returning from our wars in the Middle East, and the demands for benefits have increased. If you look back a few years, our Veteran Services benefits were $49,000. In the coming year, we're recommending $129,000. So we do get 3/4 of that reimbursed by the state, but we get it the next year. We don't get it in the current year. So, not a problem. I mean, we do it. It's relatively modest expense for the town. But budgeting correctly is a challenge. If we run out of money, let's say if a lot more vets step forward who are in need, we don't have money, it's illegal to overspend the budget. And yet it's also illegal to deny benefits, so we're sort of caught in a crossfire there. The state is trying to work that out legislatively, so towns are not put in that position of doing one or the other and violating the law in both cases. Public library, we have some initiatives for the public library. Rec Commission, gradually trying to rebuild that budget. It was zeroed out in the crisis, and now they're requesting $12,002. See how much we can provide there. The others, I also have down here a reserve for contingencies line item. We have employees who retire every year. Some of them are entitled to a payout for unused time. And if an employee has accumulated lots of unused time and is entitled to a payout at the end of their career, it can wreck the budget of a particular department. And so the way we should be doing this is we should be appropriating some funds every year based upon some estimate of what we would have to pay out and based upon an estimate of how many employees we might see retiring that year. So I have this right now fairly arbitrary reserve for contingencies of $15,000. I've asked the treasurer collector to do a study for me and tell me all those who are 55 and older and who are eligible to retire and what kind of payouts they would be entitled to if they're retiring. So that we'd like to be able to fund that. That budget would probably be adjusted before the Maytown meeting once we get better data in which to make a decision. Debt service, nothing new. School assessments I've already talked about. In the budget, you'll see at the bottom warrant article appropriations. I'm trying just to account for them. And then at the very bottom of the budget, I started a new section called non-general fund budgets. We spend out of the general fund, but we also spend money through the ambulance budget. We spend money through revolving funds. We spend money through the sewer budget. And one of the requirements to get recognition for having an excellent budget is that you reflect in your budget document all the spending that's going on in the town, so that it's not just out of the general fund. You get to know what else we're spending, even though it may be supported from some other sources. So started that. Some of those are not filled in yet because I don't have those budgets. Also, community preservation. You know, we have a 3% surcharge every year on your property taxes for the community preservation fund. So we want to reflect that as well. That's the budget now. As you can see at the very bottom, as it now stands, with all these items funded, we have at this point about $182,000 that is available and unallocated. The last piece of this is that department heads were asked to submit budgets level funded. And actually, if you have a fixed cost that's increasing that you can't control, if your rent's going up for something, or some other expense that is not controllable, they were allowed to put that in their budget. But everything else has to go on a separate list of new requests. So I'll read these out for the board and for your decision. Selectmen salaries, there's a request for $19,308 for that office. Town clerk salaries, a request in addition to 40-hour schedule for $13,841. Town buildings maintenance, that's this building, we share a custodian with the Council on the Aging, and we get 5 hours a week. For $2,950, we could make that 10 hours, and we get a little bit more maintenance of the building here.
Let me know what we should ask for.
Cemetery and Parks is requesting $13,008 for a seasonal worker, a few $100 more for additional postage, and $6,500 for an administrative assistant. Cemetery and Parks is the only major department without administrative assistance at this point. Highways, the Highway Department is asking for a new position. Actually, it would be filling the 7th position, which was lost in the crisis. And actually, they had asked for a laborer position and for an assistant mechanic, both in the high 20s. I think we talked about that, and there's a realization the town's not going to be able to fund any of that. So what we are proposing is an assistant mechanic laborer, a person who could function as assistant mechanic as needed, and then otherwise would be available to do the work of the department outside of the building. There's also we talked about $25,000 more for snow and ice, $22,000 more for miscellaneous expenses there. They're looking for $31,000 more in fuel than is allocated in the budget. One of the big ones is that the police department would like an additional officer. Right now, there's one officer, only one on duty at nighttime. And they're asking for $69,500 for an additional officer. If you add the benefits in, typical benefits, 32-33% of the salary. So that'd be about another $22,000, so a little over $90,000 for that position. Council on the Aging would like 11 additional hours for the Elder Family Services Coordinator, $7,000, and $14,000 for a 20.5 hours, for 20.5 additional hours for the Activities Coordinator. The Veterans Agent has asked that we restore the salary. That would restore it to $20,000. We cut the salary because our current Veterans Agent, who is retired, has a cap on the amount of earnings he's allowed. We can't pay him more than somewhere between $9,000 and $10,000, and so we cut the other 10. He is arguing that we should add the other 10 back into the budget because if something happens and he leaves, we will need something like 20 in order to recruit a replacement. It's a sensible thing. The library is requesting $3,000 in additional salary to upgrade the director and $2,700 to upgrade the library staff salaries. As I said, tree warden wants another $1,500 in addition. Rec department, another $3,700 than what's in the budget. And then there's a question of, I had a request today from the school committee to restore the stipends that were cut for school committee members during the financial crisis. The argument that was made in the letter is that the other community, Phillipston, provides a stipend of that amount for their school committee members. The town of Templeton school committee members are not compensated. And there was even some comment from time to time about stipends for the Templeton Board of Selectmen. So there you are. This is how much money we have unallocated. I think the Board of Selectmen would now, either now or whenever you issues, make some decisions on allocating these funds, additional funds.
All right, so after 9 o'clock, how many people here came to talk about the budget? Mr. Green?
I asked all the department heads to show up tonight.
All right, what we're gonna do is one department at a time, and we gotta make it quick because we still have other business to do. Somebody from the library wanna start us off?
Just briefly, I've heard you
Could you
talk
tell us who
about-
you are, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Jackie Pride from the library. I've heard you guys talking about different employees and their certification, their training, their longevity, and how do we make sure we retain and compensate those people accordingly. And as far as the library is concerned, unfortunately, the figures that you had for the Board of Selectmen staff are incorrect, because the library staff, myself and my support staff, are absolutely the lowest paid in the town. The increases that we requested will simply bring us up to where our colleagues are in the other departments. As far as the certification and training, while we're not a financial department, we, myself, for sure, I've had to have a lot of certification, a lot of training for my job. I understand that it's not, doesn't hold a financial interest in the town, but I feel that it holds a very important interest in the town. Our library is open the minimum hours mandated by the state. We have not increased our hours, we've not asked to increase our hours, even though I think if you look at other towns the same size as Templeton, they're open more than 25 hours a week, for sure. Like, as you were also pointing out, that there's no such thing as an administrative assistant taking shorthand and filing papers. Library work has changed too, and we're in the middle of a huge computer upgrade that I'm responsible for. It's gonna represent an enormous change to our library and our town. I think it's gonna be a great thing, but it's pretty big. And that doesn't say anything about the many programs that we hold every week and the many people in this town who value their library. And just, I'd like to give this to the board. We asked our patrons to write a few words about whether they felt their library was relevant. And I think, hopefully you're not too surprised to read what everybody who wrote on those papers had to say about this little department being extremely important in their lives.
Hey, I see the rec department sitting here in the front row. Cemetery? Alan, you wanna?
Alan Mayo, Superintendent of the Cemetery. Just wanted to quickly go over what I had requested on the budget. My board and I have met several times and talked about our budget request. We came in and talked with Bob Markle. There were a few other selectmen and people there as well. So I'm sure it's no surprise. What we're looking for mostly is the admin request. There's some issues with the office running without an admin. As Bob said, admins work with the department head or the town administrator or whatever to do the running of the department. It's not just to replace me when I'm not there, it's to help me when I am there as well. And nobody right now knows that office other than me. The former admin was very good at knowing that office. Should something happen to me or vice, anything can happen for any of us at any time. There'll be no coverage in that office, and it would be difficult for that department to work through that whole process. I'm sure they probably could, but there'd be some issues. So that's why that's our number one main concern, is the $6,500 request for the admin, 10-hour admin. That used to be a 20-hour position, and we realized the constraints of the town, so we're requesting just to get somebody back in that office and start helping out in there and learning a few things. The postage is just a request that, I noticed in my budget it wasn't in there, and so we've been kinda nickel and diming the postage this year, trying to get through. So we asked for the $200 on the postage. I would forego the seasonal request employee this year, if we could get the admin. Like I said, the admin is most important for us. And the only other thing is, I wanted to ask Bob if we did put the $600 back for the firefighters' account
Yes.
and the soldiers and sailors.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that was in
To the
it.
budget.
And that's pretty much what I have to say. I just wanted to come and make sure that you knew what my primary concern was, and that would be the admin position. Okay?
Okay.
It should be noted in Alan's position as superintendent, the last two superintendents died on the job, so we've gotta be leery of that. He's always been worried about that situation.
Well, I hope he didn't just jinx you.
Well, he knew that when we hired him.
Let's not do anything rash.
You did just get a new ride.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
All right. We got another, who else? Department hasn't had a chance, Luann?
I don't have anything really to say on my budget, but I just want to speak in favor of Alan's budget as far as admin assistants. 3 years ago, we were all cut our administrative assistants, major impact in the office. I mean, our assistants back us up all the time. I mean, they're there. You can leave the office and I don't worry, I'm sure Carol doesn't. And I can't imagine Alan trying to run his department with nobody there. It's just crazy, you know. I think it's a good step to at least reinstate or at least 10 hours to start and more as we proceed through the years, because he really could use one.
Anybody else? Sir in the back.
Yeah, my name's Gordon Moore, the advisory board chair, and I just want to say that, you know, we're starting to go through our budget review process as well. Mr. Markle's been very helpful in getting us your individual budget requests, and we will look into the budget very thoroughly, line by line, going right through your budget requests, and many of you may be aware that we were inviting each department to come share. This is not to, as some thought, to take the role of the selectmen or the administrator. They have their process to do. This is to do thorough reviews so that when we make our recommendations on what's been put forth by the town, they will be well informed. So I just want everyone to be aware that they are the ones right now that are pursuing their responsibilities, and we are looking to just be informed for the town. Thank you.
Carol.
My increase is to bring my pay rate up to my other colleagues. I'm one of the, like Jackie said, one of the lowest department heads, so I'd like to be brought up to my colleagues and to also go to 40 hours, and that's what the increase is for.
Bud?
My request was for more money in the tree department expense. It runs anywhere from $700 to $1,000 a day to hire a bucket truck and manpower to go up and take care of the taller trees. $2,500 really gets us about 2.5 days' work, and they can't remove the dangerous trees that need attention on that line item. And the other request was again to replace the seventh man on our department. In the summer months and in the winter months, but in the summer months when I have highway staff that's out on vacation or perhaps on a medical leave or just plain out sick for a day or two, if that's what happens, the department's pretty stressed with not being able to accomplish some of the larger jobs that we need the manpower for. So we lost one of our employees. He lost his fight with cancer. We never did replace him because of the budget crunches, and we need that seventh man. It's very important. And on speaking for the cemetery department, I would hope that the board would give him some summer staff. These guys work hard, and they need some additional help. There's a lot of commons. They're getting more areas to take care of and maintain. Now they're gonna be taking care of the senior center down there. And, you know, they got two of them, and Alan's taking care of the office. I mean, he needs all I think you should fulfill his request, that's my opinion.
Anyone else?
I'm sorry, can I just interrupt? Bud, you had on here miscellaneous increases for expenses of 22,467. Can you tell me what that is? In addition to what you just discussed. Is that a mistake?
Under the tree department?
Nope, under highway, 22,467, and I wasn't sure what that was.
That would be for a laborer's starting rate under the union contract, I believe.
Okay, so,
Let me get to that page just to make sure. But we had, we put in here $2,500 for overtime, but for unknown overtime. I don't believe, that was part of that 22 though. Let me see if I can get to it.
It says expenses, but.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was under expenses?
Yes.
it says miscellaneous.
I apologize, I didn't. I don't see that on my sheet for, I don't see miscellaneous under my, my budget sheet.
Okay,
All right,
yeah.
who else?
No, I don't.
Laurie?
I just wanted to make a quick plug for, we have a monitoring well down at the landfill I put in for $3,500. Normally, we could kind of make it go away for a little while, but we were inspected this year by DEP, and that monitoring well needs to be replaced.
Okay. Chief?
Yeah, we're continuing to hold pretty well in budget for the plan, as we've been working more from ambulance receipts. But the future is gonna need another paramedic as we go to ALS. So I don't think it's gonna impact the upcoming year, but I just wanna at least mention it so that it's on your radar for the future.
All right, we'll go with Diana and then Chief Bennett, and then we're gonna have to cut it off because we've got other business we have to do. So, Diana?
The two increases I'd asked for, and I'm speaking as the lowest paid department head, but I'm not asking for an increase for myself. I have two employees that are both not full-time. One does not want to go full-time, so the 20.5 hours for the activity coordinator, we could take that off the board. But I do need the 11 hours for the elder and family services coordinator. I absolutely need to have her in the office, and that's only $7,800. I would like to add another $3,100 for propane. I did some figuring, and it's gonna take, I think, $10,000
Put that in the, I put my.
additional.
Additional, okay, your first request was for more I put more
Yeah.
in the regular budget.
Yeah. I just wanna give you a little synopsis of my day. Grant writing, referral for housing, and a gentleman came in, he just lost his wife, so I did a little grief counseling. I did a referral to Montechusett Home Care. I did a referral for a SNAP in the food pantry. We worked on fuel assistance. I worked with another gentleman for case management. I had to do a well-being check. I did a home visit. I worked downstairs with my food pantry coordinator. I worked with my new activity coordinator for programming for the seniors. I interfaced with other town departments, the Board of Health, the vets, the police department, the fire department. We formed a triad a couple of years ago. I worked with my transportation department. We put out this 8-page newsletter, and the printer breaks down every freaking month.
And 3 cases of paper.
3 cases of paper, plus I do public relations, and my senior center is full every day.
What do you do after lunch?
Give me some help. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one question. Is the 11 hours make that person full-time?
Yes.
So there would be benefits to go with that, or is that inclusive of benefits? Because that number would not be accurate. It would be 7,800 plus.
Yes.
Okay.
She doesn't want the benefits, but it will, you'll
There's
have to
still
include the $3,000.
$3,000.
Plus she'll get
Yeah.
vacation.
There's still okay, that's all I needed to know, that would make it
She's
full-time.
already
Thank
at
you.
29.
I'm good, John needs to like move forwards.
Okay, fine.
No more talking.
Chief?
The request for the officer is not a new officer. Back when we did the budget crisis, I lost 4 officers, the department lost 4 officers. I also lost the administrative assistant. The administrative assistant was appointed from within, it was not a new hire. We have only hired back 3 officers, and we're down 1 still. It is not safe to send an officer out by himself to a bar fight where 20 people are fighting and he's there by himself. All I'm looking for is to get back to full staff. Myself and the highway department, the only departments left in the town that are not back to full staff.
In cemetery.
Cemetery? Cemetery.
All right, well, thank you all for taking the time to come and giving us your perspective. What's our timetable on this?
Well, I think we need to pick and choose. I'll announce to the department heads tomorrow that the next step would be that they're gonna be going to the advisory board. Eventually, we have to, I mean, we can allow money to sit on the table, or we can allocate it out, so.
You sure about that?
But
We need any further action tonight.
not necessarily. No.
Why don't
We ought to do it next time.
we'll do it.
I have a question though.
Have a
Do we,
chance
do we have to vote to move this forward?
No,
Okay, so we don't have to,
We don't have to vote until we actually make a decision.
no, yeah, you gotta make a decision on these, which ones you're gonna fund and which ones you're not, and then you vote on the budget.
okay, so how do we vote on the budget when 2 people have to recuse themselves, and that leaves you and me?
By, the
Calling
rule
Ken.
of necessity.
Yes, we recess.
Oh, okay, I was just asking.
Yep.
Okay, thank
Just
you.
invoke the rule of necessity.
Alrighty.
Okay, now we are, Doug and Julie, can come back. Thank you all for coming.
That's a hard seat.
Well, Doug said that he has, you have to recuse yourself from the whole thing because it's an omnibus budget.
Right,
Yeah?
because we
Yeah.
do
Because we do,
a consolidated budget that includes
So you
both
can't-
expenses and salaries.
so that only leaves me and John.
departments. Then you can't participate in it. We would have to vote to break the budget up, separate, we have to do salaries and expenses or by department.
No, you can,
we can
Because-
just, that's, I didn't realize you had to do that too, I
the
forgot.
rule of necessity,
So I was a little
if you don't
panicked.
have a majority able to vote on it,
Uh-huh.
you can invoke, say that because of the necessity.
Okay.
Okay, now, we are going to go into executive session, and we will reconvene in open session only to adjourn. There will be no further action taken in executive session, in open session. Per Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21.1, to discuss reputation, character, physical condition, mental health, rather than professional competence of an individual, or discuss discipline or dismissal of or complaints of charges against a public officer, employee member, or individual, and for MGL Chapter 38, Section 21.2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, and per MGL section, chapter 38, section 21.3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining and litigation, if any open meeting may have a detrimental effect on bargaining litigating position of the public body, and as chair, I so declare it will. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So move,
Second,
All right, Diane?
yes.
Doug?
yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, we go to executive session, and we will reconvene at 9:25. Give Steve a little time to clear out, and give me time to do some business.